This may be the most shocking case you could never imagine. A serial murder case with a death toll reaching 53 victims. Let me recount it for you.
If a person with a high IQ suffers from obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, and is also a sadist, what would they do? They could kill 53 people, slaughtering them like chickens, and even escape right under the police's nose. This is a true case from the former Soviet Union. He was a cold-blooded butcher, one of the prototypes for the character Hannibal Lecter. Even horror movies would not dare depict such a story. The trial. In 1992, the most brutal and infamous serial killer in Russian history stood trial. This creature, who could hardly be called human, not only evolved through each crime with increasingly savage methods to kill 53 victims, but also ate their internal organs raw. At this moment, he was sitting in a specially designed iron cage in the courtroom, facing judgment. The cage was not to restrain him, but to protect him. Without it, the victims' families in the courtroom would have torn him to pieces. As the judge read out the names of each victim, the courtroom echoed with anguished screams. Unable to bear hearing the details of the crimes, many family members wailed and fainted. Men broke through security barriers, rushing toward the cage, shouting and shaking it. Let him out now, let us deal with him right here, kill him. The scene was unimaginable chaos, yet the man in the cage watched with interest. He flashed a twisted smile, then suddenly pulled down his pants and spun around. He noticed his adversary sitting in the courtroom. For 9 years he had evaded capture, repeatedly outsmarting the police. That is, until he met his true nemesis, behavioral analysis expert Victor. Now Victor was sitting near the cage, silently watching him. Both recalled their first encounter. The first encounter. 7 bodies, including 1 boy and several girls, all with their eyes gouged out. In early 1983, in the small city of Rostov in southwestern Russia, Detective Victor was sent to assist in investigating a series of serious murders. A lieutenant skilled in criminal behavior analysis, he worked in a crime laboratory. Before his arrival, 3 female bodies had been found, all with their eyes removed, a peculiar detail. The first victim, a 13-year-old girl, had been stabbed at least 22 times. Her body, found in a forest, was heavily decomposed, leaving police with no leads on the killer. The second victim was an adult woman, found naked, face down near a train station, her legs spread apart. The third victim's face was disfigured, with the killer having brutally impaled her body with a tree branch. As time passed, the killer grew more barbaric, while the police remained powerless. Victor, then 37, tall and determined, vowed to catch this monster at all costs. But as soon as Victor arrived, the killer struck again, delivering a greeting with a 4th victim, another girl, eyes gouged out. Why was the killer obsessed with removing eyes? Was it a fetish or some dark ritual? With no clear leads, Victor started by reviewing the list of missing persons in the area. A 10-year-old girl, last seen heading alone to her piano lesson, had vanished. Victor spent 4 months investigating but found nothing. 8 months later, her body was discovered 5 kilometers from the music school. In a horrific state, snow had preserved the scene. Her skin was pale blue from freezing, her body riddled with stab wounds like a honeycomb, her chest and abdomen torn apart, and her intestines and uterus removed. The killer had not only gouged her eyes, but also severed her genitals. Victor was both enraged and despairing. Join Little Salty Fish to listen to the story, The Prototype of Hannibal. Listen to the full story on the YouTube channel, Little Salty Fish in the Underworld. Watching on our official channel supports us. Please do not listen to re-uploaded versions, as every view on our main channel is heartfelt encouragement for us to keep growing. Thank you. As a forensic detective skilled in analyzing bloodstains, footprints, and fingerprints, Victor was adept. But against this adversary, all his skills were useless. The crime scenes looked like they had been ravaged by a wild beast, yet left no trace of the killer. Who was this deranged monster? Could there really be a perfect crime beyond human apprehension? Victor forced himself to stay calm, compiling all cases and drawing 3 key conclusions. First, the killer likely had a car. He could not walk victims to remote areas for murder and disposal. Second, the killer appeared harmless, even friendly, especially to women and children, blending seamlessly into crowds. Third, he surely suffered from a hidden mental disorder, likely tied to sexual deviance. Though Victor's deductions later proved mostly correct, at the time he was at a dead end. Police began investigating those with sexual offense records, mental patients, and car owners near crime scenes, but found no leads. 4 more months passed, and the killer struck again. The 6th victim was barely a body, just a skull, belonging to a girl with Down syndrome. The 7th victim, an 8-year-old boy, was found in a forest near an airport, his eyes gouged out and genitals severed. Victor suddenly realized a critical mistake. Like the girl heading to piano lessons, this boy had used public transportation. This meant the killer might not be using a personal car, as assumed, but public transport instead. Who could use public transport so frequently without raising suspicion? The case had now exceeded the understanding of Soviet police at the time. They believed serial killers targeted specific victim types, some only women, others only children. But this killer, he targeted adult women, teenage girls, and now boys. What kind of murderer was this? What kind of person had such perverse sexual tendencies across so many victim types? Police suspected he might be homosexual or have gender dysphoria, but now they feared he was a fully deranged psychopath. Victor admitted this was the greatest challenge of his career. This shadowy killer's danger and complexity surpassed contemporary understanding of criminal psychology. Turning point. The killer was caught. The second confrontation, 24 bodies in total, with the killer now removing all organs and desecrating corpses. Victor visited a prison to meet a suspect, a young man with intellectual disabilities. One look, and Victor knew they would arrested the wrong person. Someone capable of such organized killings, erasing all traces, could not be intellectually disabled. But to the police, that did not matter. Under immense pressure to close the case, they needed a scapegoat. The suspect was deprived of sleep, tortured, and beaten. To avoid further beatings, he confessed to 11 murders, more than the police even demanded. Everything seemed settled. They just needed evidence to declare the case solved. This intellectually disabled youth was the perfect suspect. A history of mental issues, used public transport, and had confessed. If it was not him, why would he confess? Police took him to identify crime scenes. Laughably, he did not know where they were. Officers had to subtly guide him to the locations, signaling which way to go. He complied cheerfully. What horrified Victor more was that several other disabled individuals had taken their own lives under similar torture before this. If Victor did not find the real killer, this youth would meet the same fate. Worse, bodies kept appearing continuously. The real killer seemed to taunt the police with increasingly brutal methods. Some bodies had their tongues bitten off, others disemboweled, organs gone. Oddly, the eyes of these victims remained intact. This showed the killer was changing his methods. A 14-year-old boy's body was found, stabbed over 70 times, genitals severed. Forensics found semen inside, indicating the killer had begun desecrating victims post-mortem with his own body. Excited, police finally identified the killer's blood type. After a fervent investigation, they arrested a group of juvenile delinquents. Not one killer, but a gang. Victor could not take it anymore, arguing fiercely with superiors, shouting that the killer was a lone individual with severe mental illness. While police were busy arresting the wrong people and arguing, the killer evolved further. From 1984, his killing pace surged insanely. The 11th body had semen on the clothes but none inside, suggesting the killer murdered first, then masturbated on the corpse for gratification. By summer's end, police had found 24 bodies. The killer had gone from 5 murders a year to 1 every 2 weeks. With mounting pressure, police arrested more people, all confessing. But Victor knew they were all wrong. A crucial detail: Moscow forensics found the semen at scenes was AB blood type, ruling out all arrested suspects, none of whom matched. Victor was right, but he could not rejoice the killer was still at large. Let us recap the clues. AB blood-type semen, 2 footprints, a gray hair, and some clothing fragments. That was it. The police had utterly failed, but Victor persisted. He believed no crime was perfect. The killer would slip up, and when he did, Victor would catch him. He focused on the 10th victim, a boy with semen evidence, because there was a witness. Someone saw the boy with a tall man wearing glasses, gaunt cheeks, stiff knees, and large feet. Third confrontation. Police teamed up with a psychiatrist, but the killer vanished like air. No one knew who this man was or saw him again. By now, superiors lost patience with local police, sending 12 central investigators, plus militia and informants, forming a 200-person task force. Victor was appointed leader and made a bold move, deploying all personnel to bus and train stations, planting undercover agents. Even remote parks had surveillance. Victor's orders: find a man about 1.8 meters tall, aged 35 to 55, AB blood type. Anyone matching must be blood tested. Victor did everything possible. Many suspects were checked. For example, in September 1984, 2 investigators at Rostov bus station spotted a suspicious man wearing glasses, often approaching young girls and even dealing with prostitutes in dark alleys. Searching his bag, they found a knife, a jar of Vaseline, a rope, and a dirty cloth, highly suspicious. Recalling the 10th case's witness description, this man matched. They investigated immediately. Join Little Salty Fish to listen to the prototype of Hannibal on the YouTube channel Little Salty Fish in the Underworld. Watching our official channel supports us. Please do not watch re-uploads, as every view on our main channel is heartfelt encouragement for us to grow. Thank you. Police checked his background and took a blood sample. His record was clean. He was even a former teacher. A teacher as a suspect. Shocking, but common in that chaotic era. Women traded their bodies for food. Society was lawless. The blood test showed he was type A, not AB, so he was released. 11/21. Despite such thorough searches, the killer remained free. Victor took a bold step, breaking confidentiality rules to seek help from Moscow psychiatrists, hoping for a psychological profile. Most refused, but one responded. That man, Alexander Bukanovsky, was pivotal. With limited details, he pierced the fog, crafting a killer's profile. The killer emerged clearly. Bukanovsky said the killer was about 1.8 meters tall, aged 35 to 55, with sexual dysfunction, OCD, and sadistic madness. He killed compulsively. Was he mentally ill? Bukanovsky was clear. Number the killer planned meticulously, fully aware. With a profile, could they find him? Number. Strangely, as police and psychiatrists collaborated, the killer vanished. For months, no new bodies appeared. Then, the next autumn, a body with similar wounds was found in a Moscow park near the airport. Had the killer moved to Moscow, Victor rushed there. Seeing the body, he knew the monster was back, now hunting wider. Victor checked all flights and passenger lists, nothing. The killer had mocked them, arriving by train. He killed near the airport to taunt police, then returned to Rostov, resuming his slaughter. Bodies piled up, and Victor sought Bukanovsky again, sharing all crime scene details and autopsy reports. Breaking protocol, Bukanovsky smiled, knowing Victor would return. With thick eyebrows and slicked-back hair, he winked. Alone, neither of us can catch this cunning killer. Together, he won't escape. Bukanovsky delivered a 65-page analysis, narrowing the killer's age to 45 to 55, likely married with children. He had a lonely, painful childhood, unable to find pleasure in normal relationships, only aroused by victims' agony. The deeper the wounds, the greater his thrill. The killer was narcissistic, believing himself talented but not overly intelligent. Gouging eyes might stem from impotence or a Soviet myth that eyes retain the killer's image. Why remove genitals, Bukanovsky said. It is his way of asserting control, compensating for his lack of power in daily life. Victor asked why missing body parts were not found. Bukanovsky nodded. He either discards them or eats them. I lean toward the latter. a cold-blooded, perverse monster. To catch him, Victor had to think like one. He interviewed a death row rapist murderer to understand such minds. The prisoner said, "It is a contradiction. He can kill kids without remorse, but feel guilty smoking in front of them." Victor concluded the killer lived a contradictory, double life, normal, even respectable, yet a ruthless monster. This meant the killer could be anyone. Even passing him on the street, Victor would not recognize him. After over 3 years, all Victor had was a profile and rising victim count. Nightmares haunted him, decaying hands reaching from graves, accusing him of failure. By year's end, Victor collapsed mentally, unable to sleep, hospitalized for a month, and took indefinite leave. 4 years of pursuit yielded nothing but darkness. Where had he gone wrong? Victor believed his meticulous efforts were like digging for gold. Was the killer not human but a demon? He nearly gave up. The task force disbanded. No one could stop the killer now. Turning point. A key clue. Despondent, Victor turned to alcohol, lying motionless for days with a bucket of ice to chill his drinks. But his mind replayed case details. When he accidentally knocked over the ice bucket, a spark hit. All investigations assumed initial evidence was correct. What if it was wrong? Victor returned to Rostov to verify. As he did, the killer evolved further. In 1988, a railway worker found a naked woman's body near the tracks, hands tied, head bashed, nose bitten off while alive. A month later, a 9-year-old boy's body was found, skull smashed, nose stuffed with dirt. The monster was not only killing more but savoring victims' pain while alive. Victor found a breakthrough from the health ministry. Some people's semen blood type differs from their blood. All suspects previously ruled out by blood type were now viable. 4 years of investigation had to be redone. The final confrontation began. The killer grew more horrific, biting off tongues and swallowing them. Victor, now understanding his foe, refused to chase anymore. He would wait at the crime scene. With 360 officers, Victor set a trap. Uniformed police patrolled visibly, while elite undercover agents staked out likely crime spots. From October 1990, the operation ran, but the killer still took 2 boys. The second boy was abducted and killed the day police found the first. Victor vowed, "No more chances for my old foe." On November 6, 1990, an officer patrolling a rural station saw a man emerge from bushes, washing blood off his face, clothes dirty, hand injured. He calmly showed ID, joking, "Catching a big fish. Need help?" The young officer let him go, not checking his bag. But he dutifully logged the encounter, per Victor's orders. A week later, a girl's body was found in those woods, her breast bitten off. Reviewing reports, Victor saw a familiar name, Andrei Chikatilo, questioned 6 years earlier but released due to a blood type mismatch. Victor's instincts screamed Chikatilo was the killer. All clues matched. Clean record hiding a double life, age around 50, tall, mentally disturbed, glasses wearing. The bag he carried that day held a fresh victim's breast. Join Little Salty Fish for the prototype of Hannibal on Little Salty Fish in the Underworld. Watching our official channel supports us. Please avoid re-uploads, as every view on our main channel encourages us to grow. Thank you. Victor did not arrest Chikatilo immediately, instead ordering 24/7 surveillance and a full background check. Chikatilo, 54, a former Communist Party member expelled for moral issues, was married with 2 kids, a university graduate, ex-teacher, and procurement officer whose travel matched crime dates, including Moscow. When he was detained for 3 months in a financial dispute, no murders occurred. Everything was ready but a warrant. In late November, Chikatilo approached some boys. Undercover police pounced, cuffing him. But they had only circumstantial evidence. Without solid proof, he would be released after 10 days. Searching his home, police found 34 knives but could not link them to crimes. Tests showed his blood was type A, but his bodily fluids had both A and AB antigens. A rare case matching crime scene evidence. Still, it was not enough. Chikatilo was cunning, denying everything, claiming alibis. Police tried planting a cellmate to trick him, but he saw through it. They offered leniency for insanity, but he stalled. On day 9, with no confession, police used force and insults, but Chikatilo stayed smug or silent. Victor, watching through one-way glass, knew pressure would fail. He called Bukanovsky. On the final day, Bukanovsky entered the interrogation room, spending all day with Chikatilo. Just before the deadline, Chikatilo confessed. Bukanovsky's words broke him. "I am not your enemy or protector. Police want to convict you. But as a doctor, I am here to evaluate you, not judge." For the first time in his 54 years, someone listened to Chikatilo as an equal, letting him pour out his darkest memories. He opened up completely. Next, we will hear about the childhood of one of Russia's most shocking figures, and his chilling confessions. Born October 16, 1936, in a small Ukrainian village, Chikatilo's life was marked by tragedy from the start. Stalin's collectivization caused famine, killing 6 million. Ukraine, the Soviet breadbasket, saw its grain redistributed, leaving locals starving. Some resorted to cannibalism to survive. Chikatilo's mother forbade him from playing outside, claiming his older brother was kidnapped, cooked, and eaten by neighbors. World War II brought more horrors to Ukraine. His father was drafted, leaving his mother to raise him in poverty and danger. She beat him for bedwetting, offering no maternal warmth in such harsh times. During German occupation, Chikatilo witnessed soldiers assaulting his mother. After the war, his father returned as a POW, branded a traitor, bringing shame. His mother bore another child, his half-sister. The family of 4 lived in hunger. At school, Chikatilo was isolated and bullied. His only desire was to punish his tormentors, a fantasy that grew dangerous. He discovered his body did not function like others. In the army, he had a girlfriend but could not have a normal relationship. She spread rumors about his impotence, humiliating him further. He fantasized about punishing her. After university, he became a teacher, marrying through his sister's friend. Despite issues, they had 2 children. His unhappy marriage echoed his mother's scorn. At 37, he began inappropriate behavior with female students, relishing control. Victims stayed silent due to societal shame. His darkness grew. At 42, on a Christmas Eve, he met a 9-year-old girl alone. An urge overwhelmed him. He lured her to an abandoned house but felt impotent. Rage and past trauma erupted, and he violently attacked her. It felt like a release. He hid her body, found 3 days later, dead from blood loss and drowning. She was alive when thrown into a river. Chikatilo admitted stabbing mimicked what he could not do physically. A witness saw him with the girl, and blood was found at his rented house, but his wife's alibi and a scapegoat's execution saved him. His darkness unleashed, he hunted relentlessly, confessing the thrill of killing was unmatched, he said. Finding victims was easy. I lured the weak kids with candy, women with money, youths with fake jobs. In the Soviet Union's desperate underclass, missing persons were ignored. From the late 1970s to 1990, he killed 53, possibly more, as some bodies were never found. He gouged eyes early on, fearing they would capture his image, but later dismissed this. He saw boys, severed parts as trophies, relishing their pain and blood. He admitted biting tongues was the best part. Even Bukanovsky, a crime psychologist, felt sick. At crime scene reenactments, Chikatilo showed pride, pointing out a victim's muddy shoe in an undiscovered pit, devoid of remorse. On May 14, 1992, Chikatilo faced trial. Justice spoke for the victims. He continued his antics, exposing himself in court, smiling at Victor. Convicted of 52 murders, he received 52 death sentences. The judge said, "Death is the only punishment." On May 4, 1994, President Boris Yeltsin rejected his appeals. On February 14, Valentine's Day, Chikatilo was shot behind the right ear in a soundproof room, ending the monster's life. Did he repent? We will never know. His final words, "Dissect my brain to study why I became this. Maybe then the world won't see another like me." Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, give us a like and subscribe.